Hey everybody, it's Ann, and I want to talk to you about the channel today because I'm going to make some changes. And I want to talk about how the channel has progressed to where it is and how it's going to go to where it's going. Some of you have been following me since the very beginning, and we're talking 6-7 years ago, and I've been at this a long time. And it started out more as a life-size channel. Life-size channel? No, more like a life. What is that word? Okay, we're going to talk about that later, this brain fog. But it started more like a life channel, and now it turned into more of a primitive channel. So we started with all this life stuff. I was making pancakes and botching them up and cooking crazy things. I was doing projects with Tom, and we were looking at the garden, and we were looking at my new house, and I was trying to figure out how to decorate it, and I was decorating it in all different styles with all different kinds of furniture, and I was going back and forth to Target and to Salvation Army, and I was just like decorating all the time, and to the point that I filled up the house. I got a bunch of clutter. It got to be too much. Then I decided I wanted to go ahead and do more of a lifestyle. That's the word I was looking for. Then I decided I wanted to do more of an early American look with my primitive, since that was the style of my house. That turned out to be a more cohesive look for my home. So I started learning a lot from Alice. I started going to the antique stores and getting just the primitive antique stuff. And then I kind of morphed into, let's go into some of the early American homes and see what they look like and how can that help how I'm decorating my house. And then it was a little bit of a, let's learn about some of these historic figures in history because I really love history. And so all these things have been going on in my channel. And I have decided to bring it back to a lifestyle channel. And I'll tell you why. Because part of it is it's more relatable for everybody, because not everybody has this old house like I have. However, the decorating principles that me and Lainey and Mel and everybody talk about can work in any house. You know, it's like how big to hang your pictures, how low or high to hang your pictures, what's too much, what's not enough, you know. So those principles can all help. And I'm going to continue to bring you whatever home tours I have, and Lainey and Mel and Alice and, you know, the gang and all our shopping things. And so, because I really love that stuff. And so we're going to just continue everything I'm doing. I'm not going to stop anything, but I'm going to add to it. And I'm going to tell you why I'm going to add to it. Because when I look at the demographics of my channel, most of you are 55 and older. There are some of you younger, and thank you. I love that you're here. And stay, please. Because this is stuff that you're going to need to also understand when you get older, and it might help your moms. But my demographic is 55 or older, and there are a lot of people here struggling with their health, struggling with loss and grief. I mean, a lot of people struggling with their health. In fact, I know a lot of you watch me on the couch while you're healing from cancer treatments or surgeries. You're struggling with the same things I'm struggling with. And I have to say, I hate struggling with this stuff. And part of that is about growing older in America. That is what we're dealing with, is growing older and growing older in America with our current diet, with the way we do life. And it's scary because my sister, for those of you who don't know, my dear beloved only sister, died at age 53 suddenly from a massive heart attack. And that freaked the bejeebies out of me, of course, because then I thought, what's going on? Especially because my sister and I were always kind of hypochondriacs together. We always compared symptoms, and we had the same symptoms all the time. And then we'd look at each other and we'd say, well, if we have the same symptoms, it must not be anything, which actually makes no sense, but that's what we did. And then one day it turned out she had heart disease, and she didn't think it was bad, but apparently it was bad. And she left me, and she left me with all my symptoms and all my questions and all my fears. My sister and I were different in a lot of ways, though. We approached our health in a different way. When I was 27, I came down with mono, which turned into chronic fatigue syndrome. It was basically the Epstein-Barr virus that I just couldn't get out of my system, and it just continued and continued. And so for 5 years, I laid in bed. I laid in my house on the couch or in bed for 5 years. Guys, these are the first 5 years of my marriage. There I was, sick as a dog. I could not even open a door of a store because it was too heavy. I walked like an 85-year-old, and considering my mom is 86, I probably walked more like a 150-year-old, dead 150-year-old. So it was just so bad. And I delayed having kids because of that. Then when I had kids, I had trouble because I was so tired all the time. And Tom had to really take up the slack. Tom is a really good cook. Tom is a really good house cleaner. He just does a lot of things. I married a guy who's got a servant heart. Let me say that. And that really, really helped me and the girls get through life because I was so tired. So then at about age 50, 51, which would have been about 10 years ago, I had had enough of that, and I decided to go vegan, full out vegan. I did a lot of research, and it looked to me like vegan was the way to go. And so I started with kind of a fasting, intermittent fasting, and vegan kind of thing going on. And I dropped about 100 pounds. And I actually felt so much better. I felt so much better, in fact, that I went to art school and got my master's degree in fine arts and visual art. And that was a great education. And I took yoga teacher training, and I became a yoga teacher. I was fit. I was comfortable in my skin. And I felt so much better. And it wasn't just the weight loss that made me feel better. It was also the fact that I was doing fasting, and I had basically taken that virus and kind of compacted it back. And I was able to actually walk forth and thrive. It was from the age of 27 to 51 that I was sick by this disease. And I have to tell you that one of the things that I've done to manage this, and I know a lot of you are like, I don't believe it because you have a lot of energy. I've seen your videos. You have a lot of energy. I don't have a lot of energy. I just save it for certain things, but I sleep. So I go to bed at 10 at night and I sleep till 11 the next day. That is my sleeping window. And I have my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I do nothing during that sleeping window. So that is part of what helps me get through the day. And the other thing is that I manage things I'm eating. Okay, so we go back to age 51. I'm a vegan. I've turned the hands of time. I've gotten my master's degree. I've gotten my yoga teacher training. Everything is good. And about 2018 is when my sister dropped dead. And that threw me. I mean, that just threw me. First of all, it's very hard to eat vegan when you are sitting every day in this like vigil kind of, in a grief room where everyone's feeding you. So you're not really eating the foods you have to eat. But the other thing is you don't want to eat the foods you have to eat. You want to eat the comfort foods because you are hurting and in shock so bad. Well, that started me on a downward spiral. I tried to get it back. I tried to stay eating as healthy as possible. I did for the most part because I was scared to death that my sister's fate would be my fate if I ever got off the vegan diet. But what I did find out when I was doing that was that I started to get fatter. Like I started to get heavier on my vegan lifestyle diet. This is something I'm going to say, guys, I didn't eat till about 1 in the afternoon. So I didn't eat from 6 at night till 1 in the afternoon. Then I would have a green smoothie. And then later on, I would have a dinner of vegetables. Maybe I'd have a protein bar during the day. That's how I was eating. I thought that was healthy. Felt good. But I didn't feel good, and I was starting to gain weight. Soon after my sister died, I found out I had high blood pressure. And that was like, oh my gosh, because my sister, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, very scared of being diabetic, so probably in a pre-diabetic state. Truthfully, she was in a metabolic state. And this is what so many of us are finding ourselves into. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, high sugar. I mean, high A1C or, insulin, something's going on with our blood sugar. We can't process what we used to be able to process. And this is the beginning of downward health. And once this happens, then we're insulin resistant. We can't lose weight and we just start gaining it. And of course, during that time, I went through menopause. So of course I'm going to be gaining weight. So here I am gaining weight consistently, still eating a vegan diet, panicking because I have absolutely no control over my body, none. And I don't know what to do. So I'm at the doctors all the time, having tests, talking to the doctor. They think I'm a hypochondriac. They don't take my issues seriously because they're like, oh, she's just anxious. Well, yes, I was anxious because I saw what was ahead of me. And it was not pretty. I didn't want to die young. I didn't want to leave my family. I didn't want to end the fun things that I'm doing in my life. I certainly didn't want to leave my mother with another death of a child because that kills you as a parent to lose a child. I didn't want my husband to be without a wife because I saw what that does to a person who loses their spouse. And so here I was in this place of panic. Now, enter 2020. 2020, I find out I have a brain tumor. It was a pituitary adenoma, a cyst on my brain, and it's growing at an alarming rate, and I end up having to have brain surgery. That is not something you ever want to hear. You have a tumor in your head and you have to have brain surgery. They tell you not a big deal, blah, 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 blah. They go through your nose, they cut a hole in your skull, they go back into your pituitary gland, and they extract that. Now they have to be really careful because they could hit your carotid artery and you could die, but they usually don't do that. Okay, so I had the most wonderful brain surgeon. He took care of me. So far, it's all been good. I have to go back every year and have it tested. In fact, I am behind in that this year. But anyway, I have that, and 2 weeks later, and you've got to understand when you have brain surgery, the stuff they use is just, and it's like you have a concussion. It's just, you can't take light, you can't take sound. It's crazy, the recovery from that. Well, 2 weeks after that, I had a breakfast sandwich and I had a gallbladder attack. And it was so bad, it put me on the floor. And for 7 weeks, I rolled around the floor and didn't eat a thing. Now, you would think that I would go to the doctor, except I didn't because I was 2 weeks out of brain surgery. COVID was in full swing. I didn't want to risk my very poor health by going to the doctor. So I thought, I just won't eat. And maybe that's what saved my life. I don't know. But when I went to the doctor, they found out my gallbladder was full of gallstones, which was a shock to me because I had been a vegan for 10 years. And then they went in and took it 6 days later and found out that I had 2 gallstones in my bile duct, which can be fatal. And that was still what was causing so much pain. So the next day I went back into surgery and they took that out. Now, after all that, my vegan lifestyle kind of went down the tubes. I was mad because I thought, here I've been a vegan and I have high blood pressure. I had a gallbladder full of gallstones, all these things that shouldn't have happened. And then I had all these health problems. So I started adding a little bit of meat to my diet. So I continued eating more of a vegan diet, which had carbohydrates in it. And then I added meat to my diet. But still, in the end, most of my days looked like this. It was getting up, maybe 11 to 1, having a smoothie, and it would be a protein smoothie with fresh vegetables or fruit. And then I would have a protein bar mid-afternoon to keep my blood sugar stable. And because I was having migraines too, and they said, keep your blood sugar stable. So I started eating little meals to keep my blood sugar stable. And then I would have a dinner of chicken and fish and mashed potatoes or something like that. And every once in a while, I'd have an ice cream, like 4 times this summer maybe. Didn't eat any sugar else, except for my gummy vitamins, which I considered my big treat. And as this went on, I started getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And I panicked. So I cut back more of my food and I still got heavier. And I started getting sicker. My blood pressure went up higher. And the doctor put me on 2 blood pressure medications instead of just 1. And my migraines were so bad I had to go on a migraine medication. Now the migraines, the issue with my migraines is actually my neck from doing this all the time, being on the computer, and it caused a lot of trouble in my spine. So I've had all these things going on, and I know that my cholesterol has been high, and I know that sometimes I go into rapid heart rate, and you guys have heard about that in another video, but I've been in a panic about it. So all this to say, I've done some more research, and I have to thank one of you, and I don't remember who it is, that was talking about intermittent fasting and the carnivore diet. And I remember commenting and saying, well, I eat mostly vegetables. Because in my head, I still believed that eating the vegan diet was the best thing. And I don't really know right now what the best thing is, but I did do a lot more research on intermittent fasting. And one woman called Diane on Facebook, she was talking about how women really have to fast 20 hours and eat in the 4 hours. And I was like, well, I'm already fasting like 15 hours. So what's going to be 20? That can't be that much harder. I was wrong. It's a lot harder. But I decided to start that. And then I've been doing a lot of research on the intermittent diet and also the carnivore diet. I'm not completely carnivore convinced at this point, although I do see some of the value in it for some people. I do believe that everybody's physiology is different and you probably handle things a lot differently. So I have made some drastic changes in my lifestyle right now. I am fasting 20 hours a day. My food window is from 3 to 7. Half the time, half of these days, I only eat 1 meal a day. So they call that OMAD. So I'm eating 1 meal a day. What am I eating for my meal? I am eating meat. I am eating meat and I'm putting it on a whole bunch of greens. And that's what I'm eating. I'm taking some vitamins. And the other thing is I'm drinking. I am drinking 3 to 4 liters of water a day, which I really think I was dehydrated. Because if I drank half of one of them a day, that was all I had. I mean, ever. I remember buying a liter bottle years ago and I was like, oh my gosh, like this would last me a week. So that tells me right away I wasn't drinking enough water. So I drink water with electrolytes and I drink a lot of it during the day. And so now this is when I want to start to update you on my health because a lot of you have asked how am I feeling. What I did was in 4 days, my diastolic blood pressure, that's the bottom reading, just went totally down. Like it went down to 60. And my blood pressure reading was coming in at 111/64 at one point. But then during that same day, it went down to 87/53, which is too low. And I was so tired and I couldn't even move. You know, I called the doctor at the 116/64 and they're like, it's great, keep taking your drugs. But I found I had to cut my pill in half so that I wouldn't go too low already in this intermittent fasting and drinking water. So it could be part of it that my blood pressure was higher because I was dehydrated. It could be a lot of the problems that I've been having is from dehydration. I know the tachycardia can be from dehydration. It can also be from a potassium deficiency, which definitely I had too. So, you know, we have a lot of things going on here and I'm just starting to figure it out. And I don't know a lot yet. I'm watching a lot of videos. I'm watching a lot of YouTube and I'm just doing this. But we are at day 15 right now of the intermittent fasting. My energy level hasn't kicked in because I have not gone from burning sugars to burning fats. I obviously was living in an insulin resistant state. That's why I kept gaining weight and couldn't lose any. I obviously was insulin resistant because I kept eating little meals, which kept my insulin up there. And that's not good for you. And I didn't know really anything about insulin. And now when I think about it as a vegan, because you eat carbohydrates, you eat vegetables, and you eat beans and vegetables and rice, and you're eating carbs, and those carbs still will keep your insulin up. So now the way I'm eating with my salads and my meat, that's going to drop down my insulin more. So carbs will give you insulin here, protein will give you insulin here, and then fat doesn't raise your insulin at all. So I'm down here in the fat and the protein range and staying out of this range and trying to just turn things around. That's where my health is right now. So for the last 2 weeks, I've been super tired. That's to be expected when you're doing this. So, because I'm more on keto, and managing my blood sugars is more what I'm about to do. I'm not ready to give up vegetables because in my head, I still think they are so valuable for you. I'm not ready to just say, oh, meat all the way, because in my head, I feel like meat scratches up your arteries and then you need your cholesterol to coat it. I've heard 2 stories. The vegan community says, type 2 diabetes comes from eating too much fat, and the fat coats the cells and then the insulin can't get into it. And the keto community says insulin resistance comes because you have too much insulin in your blood, and because you're eating those carbohydrates, and that's what's keeping you in an insulin resistant state. So there's many doctors, there's many approaches to this. Maybe the problem is we don't know everything yet, but I do think that science is always doing research and always trying to figure some of these things out. So I like to follow doctors like Mark Hyman. I've been watching him for years. I've watched him go through a whole bunch of things. And he's about my age. So then I'm like, okay, and he has functional clinic pretty close to the house, although it's expensive to go do functional medicine, but maybe at some point I will. Right now I'm doing what I can at home. So I'm doing that, and I expect to be feeling a kick of energy in the next few weeks. So what I have noticed is in just 2 weeks of this intermittent fasting, with taking all the carbohydrates out of my diet, I have noticed that my blood pressure has gone down. I have noticed that my waist size has gone down. I have not stepped on the scale. I have 100 pounds that I want to lose. That is a lot of weight, and I'm taking you guys on the journey with me. So we're going to see how this works, but I have not stepped on the scale because I get really psyched out. Like if I step on the scale and the number's high, which it is right now, it kind of does a job on my head and I get discouraged and then I can't keep doing what I'm doing. Like I don't think I could fast for 2 weeks and step on the scale and find out I only lost 1 pound. That would discourage me to death. I can fast and say, maybe I haven't lost any weight. However, there's things going on in my body that are correcting some sick things and that I'm working toward health. So for me, I don't eat well to lose weight. I eat well to work toward health because I don't want cardiovascular disease. Right now, my heart is good. I want to keep it that way. I don't want metabolic syndrome. I don't want type 2 diabetes and high cholesterol and high blood pressure. I don't want to take blood pressure medication anymore. My mother doesn't take blood pressure medication. I want to be like her. I don't want to be like all my other ancestors that took it. This is my water bottle, guys. You can get these at TJ Maxx, Marshalls, $9.99. They hold a liter. You drink 3 of these, you have enough water in your system. 4 is even better. I do this every day. Anyway, it's actually funny because it was hard at first, but it's gotten easier and easier to get that much water in my system. And I am a firm believer in it now, even if this was the only thing that dropped my blood pressure so far. Okay, but anyway, I don't want the health problems. I want energy. And I want to feel good in front of the camera because I am in front of the camera a lot, you all. And it's just no place to not feel good about yourself, because then when I edit my videos, I'm going to be like, ah. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. I want to take you guys along on the journey. You obviously don't have to watch the journey of health if you don't want to, but if you do want to watch the journey of health, it is there for you. I will put it on a separate playlist. It'll be up a compartment in my channel. So, but that is why I'm branching out to be more of a lifestyle channel again. And this will be like more tips that will help all of you in regular life, not just those of you who own an early American home. And yet I'll still have my early American decorating and my primitive decorating and Mel's cute primitive decorating and your opportunity to buy things for your house to make it look nice. I think at this point of our lives, guys, we just want a nice life. If you are anywhere from 50 over, or especially 60 over, there are drastic changes coming in our lives. You know, we are slowing down. We are watching our health decrease. I think it would be really great to not have that happen. I would like to be an 80, 90, 100-year-old that has energy. Okay, maybe not 100, but 95, 98. I want to have a ton of energy and then die. I don't want to decline. And I felt myself declining. And I see so many people on a decline. And I think it's because there's a lack of knowledge of how to deal with our health. And we've been taught that lower your fats, lower your fats. So, I mean, I had a fat-free diet for years. I mean, I have not eaten fats. My fats have been so low, which is why I couldn't believe my gallbladder was full of gallstones. And why I couldn't believe I kept getting fatter, because the more fat I lowered, the more fat I got. And that didn't make any sense to me. So I think we've been told all wrong. I am putting my body out as a guinea pig for all of you. You know the story of my health. You've seen what it is. You know I'm not making it up. I've lived it. And you're going to see the truth of how this particular eating pattern is going to affect me. Just one more thing I want to say about what I'm doing with the intermittent fasting. 20 hours of fasting, 4 hours of eating. I don't eat the whole time. It's just 4 hours that food is available to me at that time. The 20 hours of fasting is supposed to give your body a rest. Your insulin can stay low, and you can learn to go back between fat burning and sugar burning and have a healthy metabolism. And so fasting has proven, it's just been tested all over the place, that it heals things. It heals things like your aging, your mitochondria, your stem cells, it actually heals some cancers and prevents some cancers, because our bodies are making cancer cells. And if you have very healthy body, it will kill those cancer cells. And a non-healthy body will replicate them. And part of that is an insulin-resistant body. So we'll be talking about all this more, the things that I'm learning, and because I have to make sure I'm telling you right. I don't want to tell you wrong. But we're going to go on this journey together, and you can watch me if you want to do it with me. You know, feel free to do it with me. Talk to your doctor, because I'm just a person. I have no medical knowledge whatsoever. I'm just a person who listens to a lot of doctors. In fact, back when I first got chronic fatigue syndrome, I actually thought of becoming a holistic doctor. I mean, except that I didn't have the energy, so I didn't. But I learned everything I could about the body. Things like this kind of fascinate me, and I can go down a rabbit hole really, really fast. So I hope you'll join me for that journey, and I hope that some things that I do take away will at least, you know, maybe help you on your journey of health. And if the first thing is just drink more water, let's start with that, you know. But anyway, lots of stuff to come. I have a video of Alice's garden that she sent me yesterday. I have Joanne's home tour, which is going to be really great. I have a garden. I have a video of my garden that I haven't released, and I have a video of my house. The members got to see my Americana decorating. And then on Tuesday night, we have the live here at the house with Cousin Mel, Lainey, and Alice, and we'll all be doing a live. And of course, we'll be checking in on Michelle and seeing how she's doing in her house, and lots more great things to come. But I'm going to add some of the health stuff into the channel, branch it out a little more, give you guys more tips and tricks just about life and life hacks when they come to me, and whatever else all we're doing. Oh, and the other thing is that Tom and I are working on the barn right now again. We had a leak in the barn, and the roof in the one side was old when we bought it, and it leaked, and it went into our new room that we did. And so we had to replace the roof. $23,000 later. Ouch. I mean, it cleaned me out completely. Our roof is better, so we're going to work on that house too. We're going to work on the one room that I call the yoga studio. Many of you haven't seen it for years because it's been just, everything's on top of each other. It's not been operative. But we have some women coming at the end of the month, and they're going to hang out here for a night. And so I need to get that room ready so they can hang out with me. And I think this is going to be really fun. So anyway, that's the video. This probably went way long than I meant to, but I wanted to talk to you guys. I love you guys. I thank you for watching. Lainey's video is obviously striking a chord. You guys are really liking Lainey's video. So we've had two really great videos, Cousin Mel's tour and Lainey's tour right here. And wait till you see Joanne's. Lainey is leading Joanne's tour. So it's going to be all the fun. It always is. And I will talk to you guys later.